Characters are fun to develop and watch come to life in your story, especially side characters, meaning characters who aren't the protagonist or hero of your story. But too many side characters can muddle the plot, confuse the story, and sometimes even the reader. So how do you know if you have too many characters? In this video, I'm giving you my 4 actionable steps you can take right now to determine if your story suffers from side character overload. Coming up. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Brody, author of Save the Cat Writes a Novel, as well as more than 20 novels, and the founder of the Writing Mastery Academy, where you can get unlimited access to all my online writing courses, live webinars, the Writing Mastery community, and more. Quiz time. What do all of these novels have in common? The Karma Club, Better You Than Me, The Geography of Lost Things, I Speak Boy, Amelia Gray is Almost Okay, Suns Will Rise. If you said they're all written by you, Jessica, then bravo, mega points to you. But apart from all being written by me, all of these novels suffered from an affliction I'm henceforth calling side character overload in their first draft. In other words, they all had at least one side character who just didn't make it to the final draft and was cut along the way. Did I recognize their superfluousness the moment I wrote them into the story? Of course not. That's not how first drafts work, at least not for me. At the time of writing these characters, they were important. They were funny. They were necessary. They were memorable. And yet, they all ended up on the proverbial cutting room floor. For most of these novels, I didn't realize that they suffered from side character overload until much later in the revision process. And for many of them, it was my editor who pointed it out and not me. But once I was done stomping my feet and digging my heels into the ground and typing up a very long list of important reasons why this character must absolutely not be cut, I took a deep breath, took a closer look at my story, and saw that my editor was right. They usually are. The character just wasn't necessary. In fact, they were so unnecessary that they were kind of dragging down the whole story. If you suspect your story might be suffering from side character overload too, or even if you don't, because I certainly didn't, then try out this handy 4-step process to put your story and your side characters to the test and determine if they really do deserve to stay in the story or if they're just dead weight dragging it down. Step 1. List out all the side characters in your novel. These are characters who appear more than once and who are not your main character, aka your hero. Yes, this includes love interests, enemies, mentors, friends, parents, co-workers, and the local dragon tamer who's had a lifelong rivalry with your hero and recently sold them a vial of bogus dragon taming serum. The nerve. Step 2. For each side character, write a short description of their function to the hero's story. In other words, what role do they play in the hero's life or journey? For example, they could help the hero grow, serve as a source of conflict for the hero, push the hero's buttons, give the hero important information that they need along their quest, etc. And yes, this answer must be in relation to your hero or heroes if you're writing multiple points of view. After all, it's their story. You chose to put them at the center of it, so make sure that they are at the center of it. Sure, side characters can have wants, needs, problems, flaws, and arcs of their own, but ultimately they somehow have to revolve around the hero. Step 3. Identify any characters who don't serve a role in the hero's life or story. Right away, you can cross off those characters and write them out of your next draft. That sounds harsh, but if you can't identify why they're in this story, your reader won't be able to either, and they will probably slow the plot. Maybe save them for another story. Or if you really do think they deserve to stay, then try brainstorming ways to reinvent them so that they do serve an important function to this hero and this story, and then weave them into the story in a more organic way. Step 4, look for side characters whose functions overlap. Do you have 2 best friends who both teach the hero a lesson in teamwork? Do you have 2 villains who both force the hero to face the same fear? Do you have 2 dragon tamers who both sell the hero a vial of bogus dragon taming serum? Wherever you find a crossover, it's time to start cutting or combining. If 2 side characters serve the same or very similar functions, then why do you need both? Chances are the redundant character is just dead weight in the story, and every time they appear in a scene, the reader will inherently feel their lack of necessity. Not only will eliminating unnecessary characters in your story make your overall story feel so much tighter and cleaner, it will allow the side characters who are left to really stand out and shine. Like I said before, too many side characters can often muddle a plot. Not to mention, they're hard for the reader to keep track of. Also, completing this 4-step exercise will help you analyze your story in a new way by looking at each of your side characters through the lens of your hero's story. This will give you a new and helpful perspective on the story you're telling and what you're hoping to accomplish with it. If the idea of cutting precious characters from your story makes you break out into a cold sweat, let me leave you with this. Of all the side characters I've cut from all the novels that I listed at the start of the video, I can honestly say I don't miss any of them. For some, I can barely remember their names. And in many cases, when I chose to combine characters to eliminate redundancy, I ended up with some of my all-time favorite characters who feel so much more complete and fleshed out than they did before. So just like with any revision, you never know what might come out of it until you try. You never know what wonders you might unlock by facing your fears and trying something scary. If you want to go even deeper into side characters and get more revision tips like this one, check out my complete novel revision course, available to stream now in the Writing Mastery Academy, which I've linked to below. And be sure to download my free novel revision Kickstart guide, also in the description below. Also, if you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll keep making them. Have fun killing off your side characters, and happy writing.